Patrol Chief, Deputy Commissioner, and former acting ICE Director, Ronald Vitiello. Ron, it's good to see you this morning. But look, Ronald, you heard what the AG said. He's not confused. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly that the cartels are the ones deciding who comes into America and who doesn't, and that they're pocketing billions of dollars with their human smuggling. So what is he doing about it?
Yeah, it's a really big problem. I wish he'd said more about what happens at the border and the chaos that's been created by this administration. It is not a coincidence that more than 100,000 people died last year from overdoses. Many of that is opioids. And the witness testimony, Rebecca Kiesling, our heart goes out to her and her family. Her sons were being young and irresponsible, as sometimes teenagers do, but they were poisoned. And the cartels know full well what they're doing. I also would like to context this notion, this fantasy that if we legalized or decriminalized drugs in the United States, namely marijuana in large quantities, that we would weaken these cartels. They are in the business to destroy lives. They want power and money, and they corrupt governments, and they use violence and brutality to get it. And to suggest if we decriminalize this activity that they're going to be weaker is not the case. We've seen Mexico back away from the policy of taking the fight to the streets in Mexico, and these cartels are enormously powerful, and they're killing a lot of Americans.
Well, Joe Borelli, jump in here, because these cartels are using equipment that is on par with the Mexican military. I'm talking about tanks. I'm talking about massive guns, machines, and yet they're there patrolling outside of the United States. They know where the border agents are, then they're getting their smuggling in where they're not.
Right. I think the administration should be clear with the American people. We identify who the organizations and entities are who are transporting this product, which is killing, as you pointed out earlier, 72,000 Americans. That's more Americans than COVID. To have a dismissive attitude at the White House is shameful. It's disgraceful. But to have this not actually and earnestly be priority number one of a department of the U.S. government is bizarre. This is what's killing American families. 72,000 families have lost a loved one in this year alone. This should be priority number one.
Ronald, America knows this. A new Fox News poll shows 56% of voters disapprove of President Biden's handling of the opioid epidemic. The president says it's all a laughing matter, apparently. Here's his response to Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. This week, she called him out regarding a mother who lost 2 children to fentanyl poisoning. Watch this.
Isn't she amazing? Oof. She was very specific recently, saying that a poor mother who lost 2 kids to fentanyl, that I killed her sons. The interesting thing is that fentanyl they took came during the last administration. Anyway, I don't want to get started.
Ronald, your reaction? He blamed Trump again.
It's awful. It's awful. That's right out of the playbook of this administration. Destroy and blow up the border, essentially, and then blame it on the other guy, and then the willful disregard for that lady's pain. It's unfortunate. We have a president. When's the last time he talked about fentanyl? When's the last time he talked about working with Mexico? When's the last time he put China on the spot for sending precursor chemicals into the hemisphere so these cartels can be more powerful? When's the last time he talked about the border? At the State of the Union, he said, hey, I need help. He tacitly admitted that there was a problem with the border, and the only way to fix it is for the Republicans to pass his immigration plan, which is basically amnesty for anybody that's breathing in the United States that's here illegally. So he's not serious about this. He has no credibility about it. And this callousness is terrible for us. It's not going to solve the problem if you don't admit we have one.
Is it because he wants to hopefully get those people as voters? Byron Donalds commented on this yesterday, basically saying that it's shameful what's going on in D.C. They have illegals, non-citizens, they want them to vote in local elections in D.C.
Another degradation of our border and an immigration system that has integrity, right? It should be an incentive for people to become citizens after they legally migrate into the United States so they can vote and they can participate in the American political scene. But giving it to people who are here illegally is just another wrong-headed idea, like sanctuary cities, like amnesty for everybody that's here.
Right.
It's a terrible idea, and it needs to stop.
GOP Representative Donald says allowing non-citizens to vote in D.C. elections a mockery of American democracy. Todd Pyro, jump in here, because when we went to the border, we've been there 5 times, but once I went to ranchers, and I spoke with the ranchers. One rancher said to me she cannot even throw out the garbage without holding her weapon, without holding her gun, because she's so scared. They're getting their ranches trashed. This is the couple. They started crying, telling me that when they throw out the garbage, they have to carry their pistol. And now there's this Arizona rancher charged with murder, okay, because he shot a Mexican national on his property. He's reportedly called U.S. Border Patrol to his home at least 30 to 40 times. In January alone, Todd, he called Border Patrol because he goes out to his property and it's trashed, and he's got to actually protect himself from these people on his property who has no idea what their intentions are.
And we had a guest on my program who said, look, the only reason they upcharged that rancher with murder is because clearly this administration is trying to send a message: you cannot defend your life and your property. Well, that woman spoke to me and said, look, they're not going to stop me. I'm going to carry. I'm going to defend myself. Consequences be damned. But, Ronald, not everybody may be in that position. So wasn't this clearly a move, this upcharge, to dissuade people along the border from taking matters into their own hands when their life is at stake?
Yeah, it's terrible. You know, these people that work the land, especially near the border, they understand the risks. They've been living, next to Mexico most of their lives.
Yeah.
They have a dependency on the Border Patrol. The Border Patrol depends on them for their eyes and ears. And so, yeah, this is a terrible situation that this man finds himself in. Hopefully he gets through the court system in the right way, and hopefully it'll be quickly, because that chaos at the border is not his fault. What happens at that line he's got no control over except what happens in his own life. And so those people are out there, they're working the land. We should be protecting them and not accusing them like we're doing now.
Incredible lawlessness in this country right now. Ronald, thanks very much for weighing in on all of that. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, Ronald Vitiello joining us.